planned conversation anyway. Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, the graphic novel version of Sapiens. This was, of course, a huge New York Times bestseller for when it came out. When did it come out? 2015, 16, something. This is the graphic novel version of it. Well, who's read it? I just finished it last night. I just started it a week ago and just finished it last night. Yeah.
Finished in the early hours of the morning.
Yeah, it was certainly hefty. 250 pages. Well, okay, let's start off with a round of comments. What anybody thought. I haven't read the original prose book. I'm not sure what I was expecting. I had, of course, heard of it. It's a very popular bestseller book. So I gather it's a science, one of those science popularizations. I used to read tons of science popularizations back in the day. I just absorbed them back when I was a teenager. And I have kind of fallen away from reading a lot of them lately. So I'm guessing this is just for the layperson, just a broad introduction into a lot of these issues. You know what, I can say, I haven't read the original, but I've read this one now. I guess I could say I don't think I learned anything particularly, not a lot I didn't already know. I'm just a fairly well-read and well-educated person, I think, for a layperson. I have no expertise in anything. So, nothing that really didn't blow my mind from this. I thought it was a very good, standard introduction to the general populace of these matters. Yeah, I mean, very breezy, very readable, very good presentation of the material. A lot of these can be very dry, and it moved along quite nicely. I'm not sure how much of this was the graphic novel and how much of it was the original prose book, but I can see why it became so very, very popular. And of course, for my interests, I'm always interested in how the cartooning and the graphics are developed and presented. And I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunity to go through it as we talk. I thought, yeah, this was a very, very, accessible presentation. I'm sure a lot of school teachers are going to love this. They're going to really enjoy giving this to their students. And yeah, it's a very, very good readable presentation. So I thought on that level, I thought it was very effective. I mean, yeah, of course it could have been better. Of course it could have been, but that's neither here nor there. And there are some very odd things. Obviously, this wasn't originally in English. There's odd things here and there, but you get past that. Okay, so any comments from anybody else?
I only just saw the fact that this was going to happen today, just earlier today. So I actually ran out to Barnes & Noble and grabbed the graphic and read it today. The reason I was so interested is because 4 or 5 years ago, I used the original one, I guess you can call it the original one, as a required text in a course I was teaching. And it was, interestingly enough, even though it doesn't have all the pictures, just a few charts, a few things like that, it is also very accessible. That's why I chose it. It was an undergraduate course, and everybody seemed to like it. And it was done in sections. Like, I think the one that got the most attention, and it wasn't quite here, was about money. But it kind of goes along with the chapter or the part about myth, right? Our myth. We have a piece of paper in our hands and we all believe that it's worth something. So I was kind of enchanted by it. I think it would be a great text for maybe high school because of and even now in college courses, they're using the graphic novel as text oftentimes. So obviously it needs a little more depth if you're really going into something, but I think it's a good intro.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was designed for. for an introduction for students and people who are brand new to the subjects. Yeah, I mean, personally, yeah, I would have liked a little more depth, but I can see it for what it is. It's intended to be an intro. Yeah, so.
So, Deb, you have a teaching background, do you?
Yes, along with other ones, but that's what I did for the last 15 years or so.
All right, yeah. So what age groups would you suggest?
Well, for this one, I would have said I didn't even see that in the junior high. In fact, there are a lot of good younger kids than that who are, sort of academically.
Oh, okay. I'm Australian, so we don't have junior high here, even though they did a Canadian TV series on it, I remember, 30 years ago or something.
Well, it's. I think it would be hard not to like this, and I think it would be a great stimulator for conversation for people to go further. I think it gets that whole thing going. His original text was a little more developed than this, but it was very fluid and easy to read, just like this is.
Well, certainly. But what age group would you recommend it for?
This one, the graphic.
Oh, let's say the graphic novel, yes.
Can I honestly say this? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're allowed to be honest.
I've been trying to tell myself to be a little less PC and a little more forthright in my opinions. I retired recently. One of the reasons was because I felt there was less enthusiasm from the generation of undergraduate students at university that I was encountering. And
these were your student teachers, were they?
No, these were history majors, and I sort of think that was for the original one. I think this might be just fine for a general course at college level at some institutions.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I'm fine at college level. I would say it deals in a lot of abstractions. And I don't think prepubescent children are suited to the later abstractions. It would become so obvious to you when you've gone through puberty that you start to grasp abstract ideas. Like, one element here is they have the super ideas guy. He looked a bit like Barack Obama. Oh, super fiction guy. Dr. Fiction was his name. Yeah. And he's saying everything's just an idea, and that's probably not a good thing for a prepubescent child. And there's a reason I say that. Not because I've ever had any teachers training, but because I can remember my mental abilities very well from a younger age. And I noticed the transitions. It comes down to the old, almost what Hegel was talking about. People either think concretely and they can think abstractly. And in the popular parlance, children prior to puberty think concretely rather than abstractly. Well, I'm meaning abstract and concrete from a certain type of parlance.
I'm not sure. I mean, go a little further. I'm not sure. Kids have fantastic imaginations, and they have an ability to absorb religion.
I'll give you an example. This is an example of clear thinking, they called it. So we're going back almost 50 years. And, the clear thinking goes, you find a Roman coin marked 55 BC with a Roman emperor on it. What's wrong with this?
No, it would be you mean it would be an anachronism
Oh, yeah.
because the Roman Empire wouldn't have been in existence at that time.
Yes, that's the concrete case. The first great emperor was Augustus, and he sort of sewed them all up in 27 BC. He never actually so much called himself the emperor, as he adopted a very clever political technique of just taking over all the jobs that made him emperor, all the various articles around the Senate that gave him that power. But yeah, that's the concrete, it's a concrete fact that in 55 BC, there were no Roman emperors. But the abstract is what you've missed out on. How the hell would you have a coin marked 55 BC and it be real? There you are. Oh, come on, David, you're still back in prep school, aren't you? I fell for that one when I was, 14 or something like that. And I thought, yeah, solid case. I knew my history. No Roman emperors in 55 BC. But it was a trick question. How the hell do you have a coin, a genuine Roman coin marked 55 BC? Yeah. How would you mark a date, really a major event, historical event before its date? Right. Why would it have any relevance to Romans? Jesus didn't obtain a major relevance for Romans until Constantine, and then they were marking off the date in AD and BC, the year of our Lord and so on. That's the abstract. You suddenly turn around, oh yeah, how could that be? That's more the abstract rather than the concrete pictorial for no Roman emperors in that year. Both are right.
Well, if it was 50, if they said 55, they also didn't use the Arabic numerals at the time.
Yeah, I was going to say a visual thing could tip you off versus an audio saying 55. But do you think that the things that are in the graphic novel, some of the basic things he's talking about, trying to say 50,000 years ago, is a little difficult for, you have to reach a certain level to be able to comprehend some of the basic assumptions he starts with.
Well, he starts off with the creation of the world in the in the scientific mythology. I did sort of note a few spots. I didn't really make great notes.
Yeah. I think would there
creation
be any,
of life, page 13.
Yeah, would there be any value in sharing? Is that coming through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, we got the timeline here. So I just want to check. This is adaptation and co-writing, David Vandermeulen. Adaptation and illustration, Daniel Casaneve. So David Vandermeulen did the co-writing adaptation, and Daniel Casaneve was the illustrator, cartoonist here. So, I mean, I don't think it's, the most elegant cartooning I've ever seen, no, but, it gets the job done. It's very workmanlike, passable. It needs to get across the information, and I think it does. So, yeah, it could be more polished. It could be slicker, but I mean, it's as good as it needs to be, I guess. you know.
Oh, okay, we've got the prophets here, the monotheistic prophets. Hey guys, they're my heroes. Oh, we all believe in the theistic. Oh no, sorry, wrong page.
Yeah, and it's very playful. It's a very playful presentation. You know, I kind of got the impression of like, those like PBS kids shows like Electric Company or something. Just trying to get across the information to a younger audience with sketches and funny comedy bits and trying to keep people's interest. That's kind of the impression I got. So.
Right, we'll pass them some busts there. Who's on the table?
We've got Lynn. I don't know who that Lynn. I don't know who that is. Lamarck. I know who that is. Genes and DNA, right? Cuvier. I'm actually not sure. Darwin. I hope we all know who that is. You know what? Bio was never my strongest science. I preferred physics and chem, but bio just was kind of a weak one for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I was good with physics. I was good with chem, but bio, not so much.
More me. I was just chemistry. I was a bit okay with physics, not so much.
So, how much reference is there in this graphic book on Homo sapiens' use of art?
Not much.
A little bit, a tiny bit, but no, they was mostly talking about lots of other stuff. There's a little bit of art, but not too much, no.
Oh, there we are. He's dropping one of the cliches. Oh God, what was the name of that Jewish guy that used to do all those programs on astronomy?
I don't know.
They pasted his picture on the side of Voyager. That's where that image comes from.
Oh, you mean, yeah, Carl Sagan?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a playful presentation. It's like
What about
cartoon
what
like.
about Homo sapiens recognition of something that has order and structure, maybe beauty, anything like that? Any reference to Homo sapiens recognition of order, structure, beauty, anything like that? Okay.
I don't. I think there was a lot of discussion about 70,000 years ago and cognitive abilities. And I guess you could. Other things got brought up.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, 50,000 years ago, we keep saying cognitive ability, big brain. That's all in our time. Like we really elevate and really glamorize intelligence, but
Wow.
early Homo sapiens, they were beast-like. They were very
Hang on,
aggressive.
it's in the name.
Carter, yeah, I don't want to interrupt, Carter, but how on earth would we ever know? How could we?
Well,
they do talk about this in the book. How could we possibly know? There's no way we could know what they believe or what they thought about order and beauty. We wouldn't have any way of knowing that. They talk about that in the book. It would all be speculation.
Well, I think we all agree on violence and how we have primitive instincts still. And if there's no order and there's no structure.
But you're asking about how they thought about it 50,000 years ago. We have absolutely no possible way of knowing that one way or the other.
I'll beware of the word absolute, though.
We could do the most barest rudimentary speculation. because of how they buried people and, the beads that we find and the artifacts that we find, but it would just be the most bearish rudimentary speculation.
I would argue against what he's saying there. I would say that the mental abilities came with the development of the Homo sapiens, goes back, they say, about 250,000 years. And I'd say that particular type of human must have had all the abilities that we have today.
Yeah, but they lived very defensively. I mean, they were always defending for survival because everyone was trying to eat each other up and violently kill each other. And there were beasts there were Neanderthals, there were animals, there were other Homo sapiens, there were differing tribes. It was always
I agree, Carter. There was, the battles for survival was a definite thing, but there was the occasional afternoon you could have off. I lived for the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, when I was free of fighting all the tigers and the Neanderthals and all the other men. We said Saturday afternoon you could have off. Sunday was religion. So it was a mixture of war and peace.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't, it was just obscurity, no structure, just indulgence, pleasure, all the primitive vices that we control now. These early Homo sapiens, they lived mostly on instincts with just some recognition of intelligence and whatever intelligence is.
Well, okay, hang on a second there. We have an example of the Australian Aborigines who have been divided from the rest of humanity for a considerable period. Maybe not quite always the 60,000 years or something like that, but we have a fairly primitive man, Stone Age man, will demonstrate a degree of sophistication and their own particular temperament. And obviously intelligent. It's like that Aborigine that Captain Phillip scored, and the Aborigine very quickly learns English, although Captain Phillip never learns the Aborigine language. So that's sophisticated intelligence. You go and learn another language, it's not your own. That's not stupidity. That's smart.
Yeah, but we're describing all that in today's time when we have countries and we have role modeling, we have an established structure. Early Homo sapiens, they were this close from just being animals.
Well, what's different between that?
Still are animals.
Yeah, I mean, just like beast-like, aggressive, violent.
Sounds like World War II.